I monetized this brand new channel in just 10 weeks, which is absolutely insane. And in this video, I want to break down exactly how I made that happen and how you can do it as well. So I created this channel in April of this year. And maybe this might sound weird, but I was kind of nervous. And it actually took me months to upload that first video because I was just overthinking everything. But the main thing that I was overthinking was, what if I start this new channel and put my heart and soul into these videos and, hours of work, and then it just completely fails and nobody even watches the videos? And if you're on a similar journey to me, maybe you can relate to that feeling, because I think it's very normal to be scared of failure, but something that is even more scary is failing in public, essentially. And on top of that, even though I have been making content for a while now, I was still overthinking, the way I look on camera and the way my voice sounds and things like that. Because when I speak, I do like to move my arms around a lot, and that's just how I am. That's just the way I talk. But when I was watching the videos back, I was just like, why am I doing that? Why am I moving my arms like that? Why am I speaking like that? And just kind of overthinking everything, basically. But then I finally posted my first video to this channel, and it got a grand total of 0 views. Literally 0. And the funny thing is that even though that was the exact thing that I was scared of happening, there was almost this huge sense of relief, and it was kind of like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. And then because the hardest part was over, I could actually start focusing on improving my videos and getting better at my craft. So I made another video, and then another one, and then another one. And I would like to think that each video that I was posting was a little bit better than the one before. And after just 10 weeks, my channel had 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, which is what you need to get monetized on YouTube. And I'm not gonna lie, it did feel incredible. Like I must have got the biggest spike of dopamine when that happened. However, I don't want to spend this whole video just yapping on about myself, because the whole point of this channel is to help you on your journey as well. So now we're going to dive into the top 5 lessons that I learned after getting monetized in 10 weeks that I wish I knew when I was first getting started. And I think if we're on a similar journey with content creation, or you're thinking about getting started, I think you're going to find this really valuable. Okay, so lesson number 1 is to shine a light on what's actually holding you back. So if you're anything like me when I first started creating content, there's a good chance that you're just overthinking the whole thing. Maybe you're yet to post your first video, or maybe you've posted a few videos, but there's something holding you back. Now, for me, the thing holding me back was the fear of failure in public. But for you, it might be different. It might be you don't like the way you look on camera, or you're scared of people making fun of you, or you're scared of your friends finding your videos, something like that. But whatever it is, we need to actually name it. So we need to actually shine a light on it. Now, this is going to sound a little bit off topic, but bear with me on this one. So I am a big fan of journaling, and I would like to say that I journal every single day, but most days I do write something down. And one thing I've noticed is that I come up with a lot of excuses and limiting beliefs in my own head that seem really scary and seem really important when they're up here, but once I write them down, once I get them out onto a piece of paper, they sort of lose their power in a way. And sometimes it means that you can sit and read back the things that you were worrying about, and you think, that's it? That's what's been holding me back? A few people at work might find my videos and laugh at them in a group chat, and that's the reason why I'm not going to pursue something that might change my life forever. That's the thing. Because when all these fears and all this overthinking is trapped inside our own head, it feels very real. But when you simply write it down, you realize very quickly that it's not real. And it's just a story that you've been telling yourself probably for a long time. So a little tip for you here, go and grab a piece of paper or a notepad or something like that, and answer the question, what is actually stopping me from posting my next video? And be brutally honest with yourself, because nobody's going to read it. You can rip it up and throw it in the bin afterwards if you want. And you might find that once you get it out of your head and you shine a light on it, you'll start to realize that some of the stories you've been telling yourself are a little bit silly, and you're probably being a bit unfair on yourself. And yeah, this is something that has helped me a lot on my journey, and I'm hoping it'll do the same for you. So lesson number 2 is to treat your first 10 videos like a test drive. And I think this is one of the most powerful mindset shifts you can have as a new creator, because most people put an insane amount of pressure on themselves for their first few videos, myself included. But the truth is that the first few videos that you post, they're not going to go viral. You're going to post them and nothing's going to happen. Your first few videos are essentially a test drive to figure out, is this even right for you? Is this something you actually want to commit to? And the other thing about those early days is that nobody cares about your videos. And I know that sounds a little bit harsh and maybe a little bit negative, but it's actually very freeing. Because when you're just starting out, your videos are going to be pretty bad and they're not going to get any views. And I say that with love, because the fact that nobody cares is actually a good thing, because it means that you can experiment and post bad videos and slowly learn the craft of creating content. Because if I'm being honest, now that this channel is growing a little bit and getting some views, I can't really experiment as much. I don't really have that full creative freedom that you have when you're just getting started and nobody's watching your videos. So yeah, treat these early days and this test drive period kind of as a gift, because it's actually a really nice opportunity to experiment and discover the type of creator that you want to be. Okay, so lesson number 3 is something I definitely didn't expect when I started all this. So when I started creating content, I expected to learn about editing, filming, script writing, things like that. But what I did not expect was the amount of personal growth and the amount that you learn about yourself. It shows how you deal with pressure. It shows how much of your self-worth can be tied to numbers on a screen. It also shows how disciplined you are when nobody's holding you accountable. And because of that, I think that creating content has given me a lot of personal growth in some very unexpected areas of life. For example, for me, I first got started on social media about 2 years ago on Instagram. Back then, I was such a perfectionist, and that would lead to a lot of inconsistency and a lot of days without posting any content because I was so worried about getting one video as perfect as possible. But now 2 years later, I try to stick to the rule of done, not perfect. And I've actually managed to become consistent because instead of worrying about, how perfect each video is, I now just focus on how much value can I get into each video. And that's helped me a lot. And also, if content creation is something you're considering, you might notice an improvement in your social skills. And hear me out on this one, but if you're practicing what is essentially the art of expressing yourself and building an audience and becoming more magnetic and all the things that I talk about in my videos, it's only natural that those skills will bleed into your social life as well. Because in life, we are drawn towards people who are comfortable being seen and comfortable being heard, which, let's be honest, a lot of us do struggle with. And yeah, this whole personal growth thing has definitely been one of the best and most unexpected parts of this whole journey. Okay, so lesson number 4 is to figure out your unfair advantage. Because here's the truth, there are a lot of people right now trying to become content creators, trying to become YouTubers, and they've all got the same style, saying the same things with the same titles and thumbnails. So with that in mind, we need to figure out a way to stand out. We need to figure out an unfair advantage that we have. And the reason I say unfair is because it's often something that comes naturally to you or something that you take for granted, but might feel impossible to someone else. Maybe it's your unique life experience, or maybe you have a very weird sense of humor, or maybe you have a very interesting way of storytelling. It can be anything really. And take me, for example. So I would say I have one pretty big unfair advantage. So I'm in the niche of growing as a creator or building a business as a creator. And this is a very, very saturated niche. But I noticed that 99% of the creators in this niche are essentially actors. And I'm not going to name any names, but the only time that they've ever grown on YouTube is by teaching you how to grow on YouTube. And I just looked at the niche and I thought, how can these guys be teaching this stuff when they have no experience and they don't really know what they're talking about? But because I have a ton of experience with growing on social media, like I actually counted it up last week, I have over 60 million views across platforms. It's insane. And because of that, I can actually help people because, to put it simply, I've done it myself. And in this niche, having that level of experience is my unfair advantage. But now let's figure out your unfair advantage and let's get really specific about this. So you want to ask yourself, is there anything that your friends and family ask you about specifically, or they come to you for advice about? Or you could ask, is there anything that feels easy to you but seems difficult for other people? And it's so cool because your unfair advantage isn't something that you need to go out and look for. It's something that you already have, even if you haven't realized it yet. Okay, so the 5th and final lesson is to create a rabbit hole. And this is more of a practical tip that you can use to build your audience faster if you're starting from scratch. So I am convinced that the most important metric on YouTube is not retention, it's not click-through rate. I am convinced that it's something called session time. And this is the difference between someone watching one of your videos and then just clicking away and watching something else, or they watch one video and then they watch another one and then another one, and then they just start binging through your content. And I think this binge ability, if that's even a word, can make or break a YouTube channel. And there are a lot of different ways to make your content more bingeable, but the easiest, most beginner-friendly way to do this is to add a very short section to the end of each video, which tells the viewer to watch a very specific video next. And I'm about to break the fourth wall right now by literally showing you an example of this, but if you are interested in starting your journey as a creator, I actually made this video for you right here where I give you a full step-by-step guide to becoming a content creator while working a full-time job. So yeah, click onto that video and hopefully I'll see you there.